But first, to today's other breaking news, a new reaction to Defense Secretary Mark Esper's announcement that President Trump is not bringing troops home from Syria. Esper says they will now instead be sent to Iraq. But the president is still tweeting as recently as 2 hours ago that he is bringing soldiers home, and then an hour ago changing it to ending endless wars. That is Mark Esper, not Esperanto, as it says there. And here's how a former Republican congressman and former Trump administration official summed it up on Meet the Press.
There are people who support the president, who believe things he says. But it's pretty clear he's not bringing home the troops.
President Trump has sent 14,000 American troops to the region since May. So he can't tell his political rallies that he's getting troops out of endless wars when he's sending 14 times the amount back into the region.
NBC's Aaron McLaughlin joining me now from Turkey, across the border from Kurdish territory in Syria. Aaron, what's the latest on the ceasefire there? Is there a clear timeline on the U.S. troop withdrawal?
Well, at the moment, Philip, and what is being seen as a positive step forward for the ceasefire agreement that was brokered by the United States. A short while ago, we heard from the spokesperson for the SDF tweet out that all SDF fighters have withdrawn from Ras Al Ain, the city just behind me, that there are no more fighters in that city. In addition to that, we're also hearing from our sources that a humanitarian convoy successfully made its way inside the city today to the hospital and evacuated the wounded, including wounded Kurdish fighters. And this is significant considering what the SDF spokesperson was saying this morning. He was saying that if today went well, then the SDF would proceed in evacuating a 75-mile stretch of area between here and Tel Abyad. Now, key questions remain with respect to the ceasefire process. President Erdogan of Turkey has been saying he wants Kurdish fighters to withdraw from a much broader stretch of land than what the SDF has agreed to. So how all of this is actually going to play out going forward is an open question. But for now, the ceasefire appears to be holding. Philip?
All right, Aaron McLaughlin, thank you so much for joining me. Melanie and Charlie are back with us here. Charlie, you follow the Syria story closely. What do you make of the decision to move U.S. troops to Iraq?
Well, it just underscores that the rationale of bringing people home is not what's going on here. What's going on here is that Erdogan has won in getting the United States to stop supporting its Kurdish allies who did the brunt of the fighting against the Islamic State. And Erdogan is going to succeed in his plan, which appears to be to ethnically cleanse the Kurds out from northern Syria along the stretch of the Turkish border as phase one. And then his plan, as we understand it, is to round up a couple million Arab Syrian refugees from around Turkey and dump them into that zone to create an ethnic buffer zone between Syria and the Kurds and his own country. And, you know, this is the kind of thing that doesn't feel like a 21st century solution to geopolitical issues, but more of a throwback. But that's what Erdogan has succeeded in doing and convincing President Trump to let him do.
Melanie, what do you make of this?
Well, you know, I can tell you that Republicans on Capitol Hill have really been pressing the Trump administration for answers about how are you going to prevent the resurgence of ISIS after you pull out these troops from Syria. In fact, I reported that Secretary of Defense Mark Esper went to Capitol Hill and had this closed-door meeting with Republicans where he struggled to answer those questions, and he didn't give them a satisfying response. So I do think that this step of sending the troops now over to Iraq as a potential way to help combat ISIS might at least throw a little bit of a bone to Republicans. But at the same time, there still is a lot of frustration and fury over that initial decision to pull the troops from Syria.
All right, Melanie Zanona, Charlie Savage, appreciate your perspectives. Appreciate it.